he was my world.
Zachary Ernest Muth is the son.
Sorry, we're going to interrupt Liz's report for a moment. We've got a brand new tornado warning now. This one is for Licking County. This one includes just the edge of Newark down through Heath, all the way down toward the Buckeye Lake area in Licking County and along I-70, because there is the potential of another storm showing some rotation. Now, we're going to get some information on this because this is just in the last few seconds. This is in southeastern Licking County, and this is going to last until 11 o'clock. This is a tornado potential. This is a thunderstorm showing signs of rotation, and it may be able to actually produce a tornado, and that's why we're keeping a close eye on this one again. So let's talk about where we are. This is Newark. This is right along 16 through Newark on over toward the Muskingum County, on the eastern side of Licking County, getting out here toward the Muskingum County line. Some of this rotation may actually also involve some heavy rain and some hail. So we are back at it again at this point, and let me get you into a different view of this so that we can prepare for the next thing in line. Hang on, I gotta get to the right part of the computer. Come here, you. All right, here we go. Let's get into this one. There we go. So this is going to show us where more of this is actually happening. So there is Newark and down toward the Buckeye Lake area all the way out to the Licking-Muskingum County line. And we're going to throw a little bit of velocity on this to see where the rotation may be. The Cleveland radar not showing much. Let's look at Wilmington. That may be what they're looking at right there. So remember earlier we talked a little bit about this, that there are multiple radar sites watching what's happening in Ohio. And a lot of this ends up being on the edge of some of those radar sites. So this is Wilmington, and right here you notice a little bit of a bright spot here, and that's likely to be the rotation that the National Weather Service in Wilmington is concerned about. So this is going to be just south of Newark. Let's get a little tighter on that so you can see where, that's going to be near Heath, isn't it? That's going to be just south of Heath. So that's going to be, there you go, between 79 and 13. So it's just to the south of Heath, not quite getting over toward 13 just yet, but some rotation potential right through here. So the road right here, you're looking at 79 there, and then headed over toward 13. So time to take precautions in parts of Licking County tonight. A little while ago, we had the storms that were in Knox County. Now we've got a brand new one, and we've talked about these, that these are very, very slow-moving storms. A lot of times these move very, very quickly, and with that, we see a lot of these storms using some of that forward momentum to actually keep themselves going. And in this case, we're seeing these move very, very slowly. The tornado that's potentially reported with this one, look at this, precipitation upwards of a full inch per hour on some of this. And the tornado warning itself in eastern Licking County is for a radar indicated tornado that's not showing a whole lot at the moment. There's that one little bit that's just literally bits and bytes. There's that one little spot showing you a little bit of rotation south of Newark, but that is enough to be concerning to the National Weather Service that they have issued a tornado warning for that. This is where it stretches south of Newark, and you can see that's right along 37. So 37 is back here, and then it stretches all the way out to the Muskingum County line. So basically everybody north of 40 and south of 16, you are in this tornado warning, and that is because a tornado signature has been spotted on the radar. This is a radar-indicated tornado warning, and it is moving to the east at only 25 miles per hour. So much like the storm in Knox County, this is also a very slow-moving storm, but it has the potential to, at least it's showing signs of enough rotation that it's worth the warning so that you have time to get down to your safe space wherever you are in Licking County. At this point, it doesn't stretch into Muskingum County or down into Fairfield County, but it does include a lot of I-70 through Muskingum County. This is, you see Fairfield Beach right here. So that's the Buckeye Lake area right there, 37, and then on over past Newark. So tornado warning in effect there until at least 11 o'clock tonight. This has been a really kind of incredible night with these storms racing through the area and producing the potential for tornadoes. This is along this cold front we've been watching all day long today. You notice a lot of this is actually starting to weaken a little bit, so good news there, but it is still strong enough to generate some very heavy rain and is also now, in a couple of cases, producing some of this rotation that may cause concern for tornadoes. So here's what that storm looks like in the Newark area right now, and you see there's a pretty good little hail core just south of the city, and that is likely producing at least quarter-inch sized hail, if not closer to three-quarter-inch size hail. There is a good bit of heavy rain to the point where we've also seen flash flooding a possibility across a lot of parts of central Ohio. Because of all of that, we're going to stay weather aware again through the rest of this evening as this cold front continues to race its way across the state. Let me pull out a little bit so you can see the wider picture here of where it all is. So this is a cold front sliding through Ohio, stretching from up here near the Cleveland area all the way down through west of Columbus and then down toward the Cincinnati area. Lightning and thunder all along this line. Counties you see in red right through here, and that's going to include parts of Delaware County, Union County, Logan County, over into Knox County. That's flash flood warnings because the rain has been so heavy during the evening tonight that in some places we have upwards of 3 to 6 inches worth of rainfall. That's hard for the ground to keep up with. It runs off pretty quickly at that point, and the rivers and streams begin to come up as well. So high water, you know where it happens in your neighborhood. You may see some of that happening across a lot of your area for tonight, especially in areas that are already prone to it. But the bigger issue right now is what's happening in Licking County, just to the south of Newark and all the way down to Buckeye Lake and then almost out toward Grayshot and Hopewell. This is where you've got the potential for some rotation, and a tornado warning is in effect now until at least 11 o'clock tonight. I'm going to cycle through a couple of different radar sites so that we can try to see if we can spot where the rotation is that the National Weather Service is most concerned about. If we get in here and look at, yeah, that may be it right there. So we are just south of Newark and north of 40, right there near Lloyd Corners. So that's it right there. There's your rotation. So you've got plenty of that showing up enough that it's enough of a concern that the Weather Service has deemed it worthy of a tornado warning. What do you do when there's a tornado warning? Well, let's start with what a tornado warning means. A tornado warning means that a tornado is imminent or is happening. And in this case, because it's radar indicated, it at least means that we have the potential for this to be more than just a suggestion. This is actually more likely that you're seeing real rotation in the cloud. Is it on the ground yet? Hard to say based on what we see on radar at the moment. But this does give us the opportunity to get to shelter, because the whole point of warnings is that now's the time to take shelter immediately, take action, put your plan into place, put it into action, and make sure that you get to that safe location. In the meantime, the watch, and we haven't had any watches tonight. There have been no watches for any of this because, well, to be honest, the conditions haven't really been favorable. But here we are. So never say never. Our crew here hears me say that a lot, where they said, do we have to be ready? I'm like, yeah, we got to be ready, because weird things have happened, especially this season. And here we are with all of this. So tonight, we are headed toward our safe spaces in Licking County, and we will make sure that we stay there until this passes. And that may be closer to 11 o'clock tonight. Right now, if you're headed toward your safe space, you want to get away from the outside windows, away from those outside walls. Put as many interior walls between you and the outside as possible, because that way you've got that much more protection between you and, heaven forbid, the actual storm gets to your house. In some cases, a closet, a hallway, maybe even a stairwell could be your safest place, because it's away from the windows, it's in the center of the house. If you have to go to a bathroom, then that may be your safe spot if you can still get away from some windows. In some cases, the bathroom is sometimes a little sturdier because it's built for the weight of the bathtub, and so it might have a little more structure to it than some of the other rooms. If you have a basement, that is the best place to go because it, again, puts some strong walls between you and the ground on the outside, and you're below ground that also is going to give you some protection as the storm comes through. The storms are moving very slowly tonight. Normally, these storms come through at almost highway speeds. This time, some of these are only moving 15 to 25 miles per hour, which for storms like this is a crawl. Part of what's happening out here is they're being pushed by this cold front. The front's not moving very fast, but these storms are also just far enough ahead of it that they're not quite getting shoved by that front as much as they would if they were a little closer. So these are convective storms, which means it's rising air. There's convection happening where the air rises in the storm and it creates these tall, towering cumulus that become cumulonimbus, the thunderheads that produce some of these storms. And in some cases, they can generate enough rotation that we have the need for tornado warnings to make sure that we have enough lead time to be safe. Now, here is some good news. In the last few minutes, this has been pared back just a little bit. It still does include parts of Newark, but you notice the back edge of this has been moved to the east a little bit, and the warning has not been extended yet into Muskingum County. And that is good news because that means that there's likely to be a little bit of weakening happening there. We're going to put a 3D spin on this, and let's see how tall this particular storm is. We saw the storm in Knox County last hour, and that storm was almost 60,000 feet. It was incredible. It was well above 55,000 feet. This one, now this is a little smaller. There you go. So some good news there is that a lot of this storm, it's got a little bit of a tower to it. Look at that. There you go. So there is one portion of this storm that the radar is seeing all the way up to about 40,000 feet in the very core of this storm. That may be enough to also get you some hail out of that because you've got to have a really strong updraft to start creating something like this. But most of this storm is below 20,000 feet and is likely to be weakening in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So because of that, we are more likely to be able to see this begin to at least weaken below some of these severe parameters and then start to get a little bit of a break. Most of Ohio has been dealing with a lot of rain during the daytime today. Our friends out at Muirfield Village have had rain for the Pro-Am today. We've had plenty of that in Columbus, and now we're getting it during the evening. Some of this has been heavy enough that it has given us the chance for some flash flooding. Because, in fact, let me show you that. Because the rain has been heavy enough, let's put this on just the last 3 hours. So in the last 3 hours alone, look at this, parts of Knox County, +3. So more than 3 inches of rain. Anything more than an inch an hour is the potential for flash flooding. You get out here in northern Union County, portions of Union County getting upwards of 3 inches. Go to 12 hours, a 12-hour range on this, and this is where it gets really incredible. Parts of northern Union County and out into Logan County have had closer, potentially 8 to 10 inches worth of rain. So flooding becomes a very significant problem for some of those areas, and you still have at least 1 to 2 across most of Delaware, Morrow, Knox, Licking counties. This is why those the warnings are in place for flash flooding across a lot of those counties. You see those right here in red. So there's Bellefontaine, on over into northern Union County. The city of Delaware included in that. You may have a little bit of urban flooding there. And then on over into Knox County, including Mount Vernon. Not quite down into Utica, but Utica, you've had plenty of heavy rain tonight as well. But the tornado warning is all the way down here in southeastern Licking County. And that is the part that we're going to be most concerned about for the next 10 minutes or so. This is a tornado warning that is radar indicated, which means that radar is seeing the rotation in the cloud, but it is not necessarily making it all the way to the ground. Even if it's not, precautions are necessary because it doesn't take much for that to make it all the way to the ground in these kind of situations. So let's take a look at that velocity reading again and see where we are with this. So this is going to be Wilmington, and I'll tell you what, let's see if I can get the Columbus radar called up here real quick. Let me change some settings real quick on this. Get us to the Columbus radar, which will be a little bit closer and might give us a better sense of what's actually happening. Oh, come on, load the data. Let's go. Load some data. Load it up, load it up, load it up. Let's talk about where the warning is. We'll wait for that data to get here. Here's Newark. This is 16 all the way out toward Frazeysburg. You get down into this part of Licking County over toward Hopewell, and you've got some heavy rain happening there. Down toward the Buckeye Lake area and through Heath, this is all part of the tornado warning that is in effect right now. And you notice how they just pared that back a little bit. And that is because the signature on this is weakening just enough that it is a little less broad. So there you see it south of 16. That's going to be it probably right there. Little of that south of 16 with a bright signature. This is the Cleveland radar. Let's look at the Wilmington radar. And kind of hard to see there because this is right on the edge of Wilmington's radar signal. But that bright spot right there, south of 16 to the northeast of Newark, southeast of Newark, that is your spot right there. And you notice it is still inside the tornado warning polygon. So that's going to be headed toward Brownsville Road. Yep, Brownsville Road out near Clay Lick as well. So this is going to be south of Swans and south of 16. But this area right here is where we have the potential for some rotation right now for the next few minutes, watching that very closely as it slowly moves to the east. These storms moving at 20, 25 miles per hour, which for these kinds of storms is pretty much a crawl. It is really, really slow for what they have going on. And in the meantime, there is some very heavy rain happening with this as well. So this is where flooding can also become a concern. But anywhere from Rockhaven Park all the way back to Swans, you're looking at potential for some tornadic activity, and you're in the tornado warning until 11 o'clock tonight. It is important to take precautions, put your storm plan into action right now as this storm continues to move off to the east. We like to, I'm going to bug Stacia again, because this is we're going to talk about duck again, and it's not just a mallard in a lake. Stacia, tell us more about duck. D stands for what?
Downstairs. So this is an acronym that we used in Oklahoma growing up. Helps you remember how to get to your safe space, how to find that safe space. So downstairs is duck. Yeah, the first part of duck. And then underneath something.
So have something above you if it's the first floor of the house because you're in the basement, or if you've got a mattress you can put over yourself, a blanket, get under something. Maybe it's the stairs, get under the stairs.
That's right.
C.
C is center part of the house.
Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So if, heaven forbid, this thing comes toward the house, it'll take out those walls before it gets to you, and you'll be safer there. D, U, C.
K is keep away from windows.
Keep away from windows and keep in place, because we want to stay there until the warning is over while we stay away from those windows. A tornado, when it comes through, obviously can create a lot of damage, but in the process, it also creates a debris cloud, and that can do as much damage as the wind itself. You've probably seen pictures of things like a piece of straw that's been driven into a tree or into the side of the house because the winds are so strong. So that kind of thing is what we watch for in terms of debris, because the debris can cause as much damage as it flies around as the wind itself just tearing things apart. That piece of straw might not have gone through a tree. It could have gone through one of us. And so we want to stay away and out of those situations. And that's why it's important to stay in place and to stay in your shelter until it's all over. Here's the polygon, and I'll say it again because I'm going to quote Spann, which is James Spann is a colleague of ours who's in Alabama. He is legendary for his severe weather coverage, and one of his catchphrases is respect the polygon. And the reason for that is this polygon, you notice how it spreads out a little bit. You'll notice that during hurricane season, the same thing happens. You see the hurricane cone and it sort of spreads out into the future. That's because these storms can sometimes take a turn. They're not always let's say, cooperative. They don't always go where you're hoping the direction that you think they're going to go. And so this gives us the opportunity to be in the polygon, but still end up with the storm itself staying in the polygon. I just saw a copyright. Do we need to break and go to WSYX? What's our plan? We're going to stay right here. All right, we're going to stay right here. All right, so this is our tornado warning that's in effect for at least the next few minutes in Licking County, and this is for some rotation not far from Clay Lick, headed off to the east at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. It's very, very slow. This is similar to what we saw in Knox County just about 45 minutes ago, where another storm also was producing a tornado, in that case observed by Knox County Emergency Management. They reported it to the National Weather Service, who immediately issued a tornado warning. And in this case, this is radar indicated with rotation showing up in the cloud itself, but strong enough that it is worthy of paying attention to, and that's why the tornado warning gets issued. So far, we don't have indications that this storm is strengthening. We actually have indications that it's weakening a little bit, and that's why, for now, you see it only goes to the Muskingum County line. It's not been extended into Muskingum County yet. As long as this storm continues to weaken, that will be the case, and coming up in the next couple of minutes, they will let this expire. If the storm does manage to hold together with that rotation, then a different office of the National Weather Service will think about expanding that into Licking County, or into Muskingum County. For now, it ends at the Licking County line and stretches from just to the southeast of Newark, up 16, and all the way out to the county line. Where is the rotation? We'll show you real quick, because the good news is it seems that it's starting to weaken a little bit. That's always good news for us. Right now, the center of rotation is kind of weakening a little bit. It's spreading out. That's excellent, because that means there's less of that tight rotation that gets us into the actual potential tornado. So the rotation is still there, but not tight enough that it's likely to create a funnel. In the next 45 seconds or so, we will see what happens with this tornado warning. If they allow it to expire, then that will be the last tornado warning at the moment in central Ohio. But for the next 30 seconds or so, this is still the tornado warning in effect in Licking County. The cold front will push through here in the next few hours. As it does, it will push some of these storms off to the east, and we will have to keep an eye on these into the overnight hours if they manage to develop some rotation again. A lot of this, the actual ingredients for the tornadoes really wasn't there during the daytime today, but that didn't keep it from happening. Turns out they were able to develop it on its own. So the storms find a way. There it goes, 11 o'clock straight up. The National Weather Service has allowed the tornado warning to expire. We are going to get you back to regular programming and WSYX News at 11.